transmission of the mystics. What does that mean? I like to use the word transmission because often the transmission can be something we're saying to each other or something we're writing to each other, but also a transmission can be just a presence. So if there's a really epic yogi up in the Himalayas chilling out by himself, the fact that he's there chilling out and he may be really spiritually evolved, he or she, sitting there, just the fact that they're there is affecting everyone else. We're all a part of the same web of existence. Every water droplet in the web reflects all the others. Every crystal in the net of jewels reflects all the other crystals. We all reflect each other. So that person who's not interacting with anyone, just their transmission of being is giving us goodness and hope. So it's not like these people, these mystics need to go out there and tell everyone something they're learning or something they're doing or something they're not doing. It's a transmission. So this is why when you work on yourself and you heal yourself, we're a part of there's different levels to our morphogenic fields, our kind of groups. You have these family morphogenic fields. You might have a morphogenic field in your community. You might have a morphogenic field in your country or your ethnicity. But you also have this collective morphogenic field amongst species. And there's a lot of research around this with Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's work. But we're a part of the morphogenic field of humanity. And we're all basically interacting with each other all the time. So when you work on your stuff and you heal yourself, you are collectively healing other people and lifting other people up. You know, if everyone around you and everyone you know about is nasty and evil, then that's going to affect you, even if you're not around them. So it's very important to be aware of that. And a term that was coined by the great American prophet Edgar Cayce is called the Akashic field. And he described it, this is 100 years ago, he described it almost like an internet, where he was a trance channel who would go into an altered state of consciousness, and basically the interviewers would ask him information, and he would just tell them, what do you want to know? Especially medical science, 100 years ago. And he described this field of information almost like going on Google. And basically, what we could perceive about this is almost like it was a collective field of human knowing through time. So he could just tap into anything that anyone's ever learned forwards and backwards in time anywhere on the planet and just ask, and the information would come through him. Okay? So he called it the Akashic field, because there's this whole idea of this Akashic record, or this hall of records, this kind of this celestial place where all information is kept, and more it could be more of a field of energy holding information between all of us. So what is the role of the mystics? Well, so much of what we practice, what we learn, what we share is not been dreamed up by scientists, it's not been verified in a lab. And last week we went deep into some of the ways science can back up the root cause of astrology by understanding Russian torsion field physics. So it sounds crazy if you're not wasn't here last week. But what should I mute you? But then astrology, look, we can look at the fact that, yeah, planets affect us, planets have a field of energy. However, all of the actual understanding of astrology is like studying the tides, it's like studying the moon, it's like studying the seasons. Through millennia of study of the planet's movements, through understanding the changes in the human body, in our organs and in our emotions, people have begun to understand how to map out what movements in the cosmos are going to make people feel good or, suicidal or what have you, like what are we going to do? So, and also they've understood as well with our birth charts, this person's going to be a really good teacher, this person's going to be a sociopath, this person's going to be, really healthy, I don't know. So this is people have interpreted this sort of thing and studied it, but a lot of people, you get these intuitive astrologers who basically can feel all these things and just teach about it. So the role of the mystics are people who basically get given information and they share it, just given it somehow, all right? And we don't really have to worry so much on the mechanics of how that works, but the fact that these people are out there and a lot of the information they get is absolutely paramount to our growth as a planet. So example would be like someone like Osho got given a whole bunch of beautiful information on how to interact with people and how to open our hearts and how to detox and how to meditate and how to express ourselves. You know, he just came out with it. Rudolf Steiner. His information on how to, you know, biodynamics and how to work with the moon cycles, how to teach, how to build structures, like you know, almost like understanding feng shui and all this sort of stuff. Like, his data was so profound that he couldn't get enough out. Like, it's just coming through him. No one's there teaching him and telling him these secrets. He doesn't have a secret book in the closet or anything like that. Or someone like Eckhart Tolle, like, he just sat in a park for a year, I think, and then everything started coming through him. He just sitting there, and it just started happening. Yeah, totally. It's like, so there's all these people in our society who are alive now and from our history where huge amounts of data has come through them, and then it's been tested. I mean, there's people testing biodynamics now who are hardcore with, like, wine. And they're like, there's people who don't believe in biodynamics at all, but they'll try it, and they're like, wow, this wine is better, the plants are healthier. This works. Someone just told us about it, you know, 80 years ago. It's incredible. And another thing I'll mention are these people called wanderers. And this is expressed really well in David Wilcock's books, especially the Source Field Investigations. The concept of a wanderer is someone who's worked on themselves enough that they don't have to, we're going to talk about this more, they don't have to reincarnate. It's voluntary. They're voluntarily reincarnating into a human body to repeat the human experience to help other people. All right? And there's this whole concept called the wanderer awakening. This is people who are realizing that they at some point in their life, they realize they don't really have any issues, and they feel a lot of abundant love and energy to help other people, and they realize that that's why they're here. And a lot of this, once they realize that, a lot of things can start happening. But there's always this risk when you choose to reincarnate that you can get caught up in this karmic game again, and you can get up to bad stuff, and you can get trapped down here again, and having to go through these cycles of incarnation. So it's always a risky thing. I mean, reincarnation's a funny one because, like, in our culture, we hope it's factual because we're afraid of things ending, and then Buddhist cultures they're trying to get out of it. You know, they totally believe in it and they're trying to get out of it, and we hope that it's real, and we're trying to get into it. So it's a real.
Give me another go, please.
Yeah. And there's guys up in Tibet who are like, oh, this is the last time, man. You know, so
never again.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. So you get these mystics out there who have gone through a particular, often set of practices, very highly initiated practices, especially around the time of their death. And there are all sorts of secret chants and songs and practices, particularly in Tibetan culture, where you can allow a body as it's the spirit, soul, mind complex, as it's leaving its body, to take its memory with it. So when it reincarnates, it starts remembering really quick. And you can get these people as well who, when they're in this incarnation, they start to access themselves in previous incarnations. And I'm not messing around with you here. And this is where you get people who maybe, like people like Steiner, are just sitting within many incarnations of their work at once. And they're just going, well, this is my last lifetime's work, and I'm just telling you about it. But if I told you that, then you'd think I'm weird, so I'm just going to just tell you what I know. And there are some really initiated teachers in Eastern philosophy out there who are completely aware and have constant memories where they're literally so aware that time isn't real, that they know that they're living in all these incarnations at once, and the information is flowing between all of them. And that's a normal state of consciousness for these people. Whereas we might, have an experience with, DMT or something like that, or any kind of altered state of consciousness where we might have these flashbacks or premonitions or emotional cascades coming from something that's not even familiar to us. Recurring dreams is a good one. Recurring dreams of very clear situations that are definitely not in this lifetime. I had a dream last year where I was, I think it was in Prague, and I was a woman, and I was riding around on a bike, and it was like 100 years ago, and it was just one of those dreams that was just super vivid. And nothing significant happened in the dream. I was just hanging out in the park with my friends. you know, and it was just like, I woke up and I was like, what's the significance of that? I hadn't just watched a movie like that. There was no information in my lifetime that had any link to that. It was just
speaking a different language.
yeah.
That's what's always weird, right? When you have a different language
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on in the
yeah.
dream. It's like, I didn't learn that language.
That's right. Yeah. So it's be mindful of the fact that a lot of this information can start flowing through you in altered states of consciousness. And if we think about dreaming, it's an altered state of consciousness where these things can start happening.